Let's start off with some applique. I have my Bondaweb on a roll. I've cut the Bondaweb so that it fits just inside this piece of fabric. You really don't want to have any Bondaweb hanging over the edges. So always make sure that you put your Bondaweb rough side down and make sure that it fits inside the edge of the fabric. So the piece of Bondaweb is rough side down, and I'm just going to pop some baking parchment on the top. I know that the Bondaweb has a backing paper on, and theoretically you shouldn't get any glue on your iron, but I always use baking parchment just in case, because there's nothing more annoying than getting glue on your iron. So just iron for a few seconds. The iron's on hot because this is a cotton fabric, and you need the heat to melt the glue on the Bondaweb. So we have the Bondaweb attached to the fabric now, which is great. Now we need to cut a shape out. I tend to go for heart shapes because that's what I like. I seem to do those all the time. So I'm just going to cut a heart shape out. Just roughly. There we go, that should do it. So now we have our heart shape with the Bondaweb on the back. Then you need to find what you're going to iron your applique onto. I have a little t-shirt here that I use for demonstrating when I'm demonstrating on the stand at the shows. So this one's already got some blue applique and some foil, which I'll be showing you in a minute. So these two processes are actually washable, the applique and the foiling. Bondaweb is washable unless you paint it, and of course most of the time I do paint it, but this is a washable process, applique. You can use it with raw edge applique. Just get the backing paper off. If you can't find the edge of the backing paper, just give it a little tear and then you'll find the edge of the backing paper. So I'm just taking the backing paper off. I'm going to screw it up so I know there's no Bondaweb on there. Then I'm going to find a place that I haven't used already on this t-shirt, and I'll pop it. Actually, I might just pop it over that one there. That looks quite nice there. A bigger heart. I think it probably looks better there. Actually, would be over your heart there as well. So I'm just going to iron that on now, just to remind you that the fabric has got Bondaweb on the back of it, and I've taken the backing paper off. I'm just making sure that it's in line. Now, theoretically, you won't have any Bondaweb sticking out over the edges, but just in case, I'm going to use baking parchment. And because I've already got work with Bondaweb on it, on the t-shirt, I'm going to cover the whole thing in baking parchment, just in case. Baking parchment is your great friend when you work with Bondaweb. So it just needs an iron for a few seconds just to activate the glue. Then you peel off your baking parchment, and there's your heart, a little love heart. Now this is totally washable as it is, but if you wanted to make it pretty, you could go around the edge on the machine with satin stitch, or you could hand embroider around it. You could sew beads around it. You could do all kinds of things. But I would wash this up to 40 degrees, and it's totally washable. Now let me show you how to use Bondaweb with transfer foil. I have a piece of Bondaweb here. It's just cut from the roll roughly, and I'm going to cut another heart shape out. Just fold it in half so that it's easier. You can draw onto the Bondaweb if you'd like to. And then just cut your heart shape out. Throw the rest away. So we've got our Bondaweb heart here, which I'm probably going to put about there. Now, because Bondaweb is a glue, transfer foil will stick to it. Transfer foil is a really good product. It'll stick hold to things like double-sided tape and glue dots, so it's good for card making, but it'll also stick to heat-activated glue like Bondaweb. This is the oil on water one. It could probably make the camera go stroby, but that's the oil. We can't see now because of the light. This is the oil on water one, which you can just about see in the lights. Yes, there we go. So that's the foil that I'm going to use. I'm just going to pop it to one side. So I have the Bondaweb heart here, and I've placed it rough side down onto the t-shirt where I want it to go. And as always, I'm going to be using baking parchment, and we'll have a nice hot iron because the t-shirt is cotton and Bondaweb is well able to take heat. So a little bit of pressure, not much. You don't need to press hard because it's the heat that does the work. There we go, that should do it. And then the only dull thing about this is you have to wait for it to cool right down. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes. So this is more or less cool now. There we go. Just got one little bit there to take off. There we are. So throw everything, all that backing paper away so you know there's no Bondaweb on there. Now this is a very pale pink t-shirt, and of course the Bondaweb is white, so it's difficult to see, but it is actually there, I promise. Now I'm going to take the heat transfer foil. I'm going to pop it over the Bondaweb, make sure that it's all covered. I'm going to use the baking parchment. Now I've turned the iron down to medium now, or wool. It's very important that you don't use a hot iron with transfer foil because it's on a plastic carrier sheet and you'll pucker up the plastic carrier sheet and then the foil won't come off properly. So it's worth waiting for the iron to cool down a bit before you iron the foil onto the Bondaweb. So I think the iron has cooled down enough now for me to, yeah, it's not puckering up the foil now, which is great. So you need two heats for this t-shirt project. You need the iron on hot to transfer the Bondaweb, but you need the iron on medium or wool to transfer the transfer foil. So we'll take the baking parchment off, and then we should be able to see, yeah, if it's worked. There we go. A nice little reveal there. So we've got a really nice heart. Now this is washable. Transfer foil is washable up to 30 degrees. Bondaweb is washable up to 40 degrees. But if you wash foil over 30 degrees, it will come off. So you need to wash your t-shirts or anything that you foiled if you are going to wash them on a wash up to 30 degrees. So cold wash or 30 degrees. You can keep reusing your foil, but when you have a piece of foil that is clear like this, you don't want to get it on any glue. So you could use other areas like this here and this here, but not the area. You don't want this void area here to touch any glue, and certainly not Bondaweb, because it will just rip all the Bondaweb off that you've just nicely ironed down. So that's a great little project for t-shirts, clothing, baby grows, whatever you fancy. You can iron it onto your jeans, but just remember with the foil, you can only wash it up to 30 degrees.